What if everything you've been told about the Maryland man deportation story was a carefully crafted lie? For weeks, the mainstream media has paraded images of a supposedly innocent family man torn from his community. But leaked documents and photographs paint a much darker picture. One that CNN and MSNBC refused to show you. In fact, going so far as to cut off the President of the United States in the Oval Office mid-speech to fact-check him. Well, tonight we're going to reveal what those Democrat lawmakers who flew to El Salvador know but won't admit publicly. We have exclusive information about who this man really is, his dangerous connections, and why powerful forces are working overtime to hide the truth. George Floyd 2.0 is what they're calling it, but the establishment doesn't want this story told. That's exactly why you need to hear it. While the media tries to hide the truth about gang connections, Americans are facing their own battle against aging skin. The fingerprints of time are something we all deal with. A groundbreaking 2024 study shows that daily collagen supplementation delivers dramatic results for skin health, fewer wrinkles, firmer texture, better hydration, but not all collagen is created equal. This scientifically backed multi-collagen formula contains 5 key types from 4 different sources, critical for reducing visible aging signs. It's helping thousands look years younger while supporting American values. Take control of your appearance just like we're taking control of the border. Visit healthwithgary.com, link below, for 51% off today. Okay, so this Maryland man, he was deported to El Salvador. He's not an innocent victim that the mainstream media would have you believe. Of course, he is deeply connected to MS13. So what is being said here? The so-called Maryland father, he's got MS-13 gang tattoos on his hands, wears their paraphernalia. Not one but 2 immigration judges confirmed his gang ties before deportation. The elite media keeps calling him the Maryland man just to hide the truth. Check out this clip.
An immigrant who said not only is he a member of MS-13, he gave them the clique, the Westerns, and he was called a Chiqueo, which is one of the higher-ranking MS-13 members. So they rightfully detained him, rightfully. An immigration judge agreed. An appellate immigration judge agreed. Now here's where it gets even more frightening. In 2021, his girlfriend previously, his wife at the time, who he had married in jail after he'd gotten numerous tickets, didn't show up for court. He marries her in jail. She has a baby with him. And as a career domestic violence prosecutor, too, I know it takes a lot for any woman to come into court and say they're a victim of domestic violence. This woman came into court twice, getting a restraining order against him, saying it's horrific. He had beaten her. He had punched her in the eye. He had ripped her clothes off. What causes a young mother to do this? Her child was with her.
Cuck Todd sits there quietly. This MS-13 member was caught in a gang sweep during a murder investigation, later pulled over on suspicion of human trafficking. While the left cries about rights for foreign criminals, who's protecting your rights as American citizens?
Well, Jessica keeps on saying there's all these mistakes. First, she said this guy was picked up because he had a Bulls hat. And then he has tattoos on his hand that spell MS-13.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. Read the symbolism, Jessica. What are you, a gang detective? Cut it out. And then he's wearing paraphernalia that says the slogan for MS-13. And then he gets caught up in a gang sweep with ranking members of MS-13 as part of a murder investigation. Then gets pulled over and he's suspected of human trafficking. Then gets accused of slugging his wife twice, and she has it on video. And suddenly his name isn't Maryland Dad, it's due process. You transitioned pretty quickly, Jessica. And to say this administration never admits a mistake, you guys never admitted you opened the border for 4 years.
Yes, we did.
Come on. You're saying this guy
That border was
you're saying this guy's afraid to go home? Because that's funny. In 2019, when he was popped, he said he wasn't afraid to go home, Jessica. Funny that you're into due process now, after bringing us the Me Too movement, cancel culture, and the Trump trials. You can't break into the country and ignore the process of coming here and then want a process to leave. You cannot cut the line to come here and then ask to be put in a line to go home.
Jesse Waters on fire there for sure. And to be clear, MS-13 has been designated a terrorist organization by the federal government, and therefore, due to national security reasons, they have the ability to deport anyone with that affiliation without having to go through the traditional process, especially if they are an illegal alien. That's the law. President Trump was talking about obeying the law when discussing deportation, something the fake news won't tell you. Meanwhile, Democrats push their fever dream, Handmaid's Tale vision to scare citizens. This fear-mongering has failed before, and it will fail again.
I challenged him, by the way, on the idea that President Trump wanted to deport homegrown citizens. Here is the clip referenced by Maxwell Frost from the Oval Office of President Trump talking about homegrown criminals.
I'd like to go a step further. I mean, I said it to Pam. I don't know what the laws are. We always have to obey the laws, but we also have homegrown criminals that push people into subways, that hit elderly ladies on the back of the head with a baseball bat when they're not looking, that are absolute monsters. I'd like to include them in the group of people to get them out of the country.
And he goes on right after that to say, but we have to obey the law. It will.
Yeah, see, I was asked about this question, about this statement by President Trump, and he says they're looking into it. That's all he can do. That's what he would love to see, people who are pushing old ladies in front of subways thrown out of the country. I mean, I would like to see them, a step further. Capital punishment with, not sitting in a cushy jail cell for 20 years either on the taxpayer dime. No. So while the media is going to sit here and scream and yell about, oh, my goodness, President Trump wants to throw everyday citizens in prison, it's not going to happen. Sure, he'd love to do it. He understands there's laws. He knows it's not possible. It's just rhetoric. It will never happen. But, the media will take that soundbite and run with it for a week. Yeah, I got text messages about it. How should I? Gary, what do you think about this? Well, what did he say? Let me look into it. Well, sounds like heated rhetoric to me. It'll never happen. But, of course, these are the sound bites that people grab onto. They'd rather hypothesize about President Trump breaking the law than actually applying the law to people who are pushing grandma in front of subways. Think about that, right? That's the logic. Let's see what this guy has to say on his final message.
Always be to obey the law. After years of very fine people, among other hoaxes, I'm suspicious of any Democrat quoting President Trump in full context. And I make no apologies, none, on not being able to know or recall that specific clip, because it doesn't reinforce my fever dream Handmaid's Tale vision of America, where Lily, who reads The Bulwark on the Upper West Side, is about to be deported right after Kilmar Abrego Garcia. President Donald Trump was clearly talking about obeying the law. I'm doubtful the law would allow him to deport homegrown criminals. But it's a far cry, again, from the Handmaid's Tale vision of the next after Abrego Garcia is you. I challenge.
Exactly. Democrats are screaming about due process while a man was disappeared to a foreign country. But what about the truth? He's a citizen of El Salvador with a deportation order. The left can't even keep their lies straight. Scott Jennings deserves a raise for this one. Let's check it out.
Country, a president and this administration can accuse somebody of being a terrorist. They accuse any one of us of being a terrorist and do with us what they will. There's due process that exists in this country for everybody. And the fact that this man had received no due process, he was effectively disappeared to a foreign country, a country which he came from, which he was basically he got
asylum. Not a foreign country. He lives there.
Excuse me. No, he does not live there.
He's a citizen of El Salvador.
Scott, excuse me. He got asylum in this country.
He's a citizen.
Scott,
does he have asylum?
Excuse me. Let me finish.
No, he doesn't.
No. It's not that sorry. It's not that he got asylum. He got a judge to say that he could not be rendered back.
Does he have a deportation order?
Excuse me. He could not be. Can you let me finish? He could not be rendered back to El Salvador because he was at risk of being harmed in El Salvador. That is what a federal judge. That is what a federal judge.
By who? No. Who was he at risk of?
Excuse me. That was what a federal judge said. He could not be deported. He could not be. Who could he be at risk by? I don't know. But
a rival gang.
No. Excuse me. Scott. Excuse me. Stop. President and this administration.
A rival gang, right? Let's look at the frightening pattern now. A man illegally in the U.S. was charged with murder after authorities found his victim wrapped in a blanket and buried about 5 feet below ground, yet the left wants to protect criminals like this. Why? Why do they continue to protect criminals? I just don't understand.
Seal the hole. Now, this is the father of her children, Casey Barrera Rosa. He's charged with murder, and he's currently in ISIS custody. And we also have this mugshot of his uncle. Authorities charge Rolvin Barrera with being an accessory to the crime. A spokesperson for the Charles County Sheriff's Office says the suspect was methodical in hiding this woman's body, burying her deep, and using old dirt to conceal the hole.
Upon discovering her body, which was wrapped in a blanket and again buried about 5 feet below the ground, it was a moment of relief for the detectives that they were able to tell her family, we have found her.
So when we first reported this, authorities told us that they found fraudulent immigration documents for Barrera Rosa and confirmed he was in the U.S. illegally.
There you go. Another example. And Senator Van Hollen, he's the star of our show. He was played by El Salvador. They wanted to meet by the pool to make it look like Garcia was in paradise. The establishment is more concerned with photo ops than the safety of American communities. Let's take a look at how ABC This Week framed it.
At some point, did you walk into a trap, though? I mean, they bring him to your hotel. He's in the civilian clothes, and you met with him. We saw the images. You put out the picture of meeting with him, the beginning of the meeting. You're sitting there, you're drinking water and talking to the guy in the hotel lobby, I assume. And then at some point they bring in these glasses that look like margarita glasses?
No, it wasn't a trap. My goal was to meet with him.
Yeah.
And make sure I could tell his wife and family he was okay. That was my goal. And I achieved that goal. You're absolutely right that the Salvadorian authorities tried to deceive people. They tried to make it look like he was in paradise. They actually wanted to have the meeting by the hotel pool originally.
Really?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We had to negotiate that. They wanted to put me right overlooking the pool. In fact, if you had a different angle on the camera shot, you would see the pool.
Because they did, right. Bukele put out a statement saying, miraculously risen from the death camps and torture and sipping margaritas with you. Yeah. I mean, they were really trying to make you look like you were hanging out with somebody that they say is a gang member.
Yeah, it was quite a scene, wasn't it? And of course, the Democrat Party, completely deranged. They're looking around trying to find the weirdest, strangest things they can before. This is what Trump derangement syndrome looks like. They'll jump off a cliff and look like idiots. Let's listen to what Newt Gingrich has to say about the Maryland dad.
Sports. I have never seen the Democratic Party this deranged. I mean, if you watch them, it's like they're looking around trying to find the weirdest, strangest things they can be for. And they're out there, I mean, give me a chance to be for males playing in girls' sports. Give me a chance to be for the most radical possible position on illegal immigration. Give me a chance to go out there and stand firmly for a whole series of ideas that nobody else in America wants. I mean, this is really remarkable, and it's almost like the party has lost its head.
Are they doing this because Trump is deporting this guy? I mean, if any other president were getting rid of guys like this, they probably wouldn't say anything. They definitely wouldn't be going to have margaritas in El Salvador with them. Is it just Trump derangement syndrome here?
I mean, part of it, to be fair, is that President Trump is probably the best modern politician at getting his opponents totally screwed up. He has some knack. I don't know how he does it, but he just intuits. If I do X, you're going to jump off the cliff and look like an idiot. So every morning he gets up and he thinks, oh, gee, I think I'll tweet something that guarantees they'll be crazy. And I would say 4 times out of 5, it works. And they go and do things, I mean, totally stupid. And they don't seem to get it. I mean, this is worse than Lucy with the football and peanuts. Remember, she used to always pull the football at the last minute? I mean, this is embarrassingly bad, and they don't seem to be able to get a grip on themselves. In fact, I suspect they get in a room, all the big donors, a lot of alcohol, hanging out, and they go, God, Van Hollen, you're so good. You're so courageous. We're so glad you're going out there making a fool of yourself. I can't figure out any other sociological explanation of this level of insanity.
Maybe they...
The media obsessively calls him the Maryland man over and over. They're trying to manipulate you. But as one brave voice pointed out, he's not a Maryland man. He's not a Maryland anything. He's an illegal alien with deportation orders, truth bombs inbound. Uh-oh.
Man, that was... The Maryland man thought to be wrongly deported.
Maryland man Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
A Maryland man wrongfully deported.
A Maryland man who was mistakenly deported.
The Maryland man. That Maryland man that was detained.
The Maryland man mistakenly deported to a prison in El Salvador.
They're not even trying to bring back a Maryland man.
He's a Maryland man.
Maryland man. The Maryland man.
Maryland man.
Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the Maryland man. The Maryland man. Maryland man.
The Maryland man.
The Maryland man they shipped to El Salvador.
The Maryland man who was sent to El Salvador.
This man from Maryland.
A Maryland man. The case of a Maryland man.
The Maryland man.
Maryland man.
Maryland man.
Maryland man.
That Maryland man.
The case of the Maryland man.
Maryland man.
Kilmar Abrego Garcia, that's a Maryland man.
The Maryland man.
This Maryland man.
The Maryland man.
The Maryland man.
He had no intent of returning the Maryland man.
A wrongly deported man. Maryland man, I should say.
Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a Maryland father.
Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia. That's the Maryland father.
Maryland father who had been deported.
There's this young man from Maryland, father.
A Maryland father who came here at age 16.
Kilmar Abrego Garcia, Maryland father.
Maryland father.
Maryland father.
Mistakenly deported father. The Maryland father mistakenly deported.
The Maryland father who was wrongfully deported. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the Maryland father from Maryland.
Maryland father.
This Maryland father who was wrongly deported.
Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the Maryland dad.
The Maryland father mistakenly deported.
The Maryland father.
He is not a Maryland man. He is not a Maryland anything. He is an illegal alien from El Salvador with a deportation order from the United States.
Clearly, the Mockingbird media got their talking points, and they are running with it. And the Democrats claim that President Bukele of El Salvador is a dictator while they work to undermine America's legal immigration system. Representative Ratskin threatens foreign leaders who don't bow to the globalist agenda.
Strong. But look, President Bukele, who's declared himself a dictator, and the other tyrants, dictators, autocrats of the world have to understand that the Trump administration is not going to last forever. We're going to restore strong democracy to America, and we will remember who stood up for democracy in America and who tried to drive us down towards dictatorship and autocracy. So I'm glad that Chris Van Hollen showed exactly where America is, and we're not afraid of any dictator anywhere.
House Democrats descending on El Salvador like some kind of rescue mission, a political stunt using your tax dollars. Here's Congressman Garcia claiming the Supreme Court ordered his return, but they're deliberately misrepresenting the truth.
Kilmar Garcia. Hey, it's Congressman Garcia. I am here in El Salvador with a group of House Democrats advocating for the release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia and, of course, checking in on so many folks who have been sent here without due process. The Supreme Court has ordered unanimously that Kilmar Garcia should come back home to the United States. We also know that he was sent here wrongfully. The Trump administration admitted that. We have met now with the U.S. Embassy here, the ambassador. We're meeting with advocates on the ground who are organizing here in El Salvador. We've talked to Abrego Garcia's family, which is heartbreaking. And more importantly, we're here to raise awareness that Kilmar needs to come home. We need to build support here in El Salvador, but also in the United States. He must come home. And I'll say this lastly.
He must come home. Hey, buddy, newsflash, he is home. Unreal. Well, Democrat Congresswoman Yasamsari falsely claims that he is just a father, a husband, a union member. The facts tell a different story, and she deliberately omits the facts.
He is a father. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Congresswoman Yasamsari. I represent Phoenix, Arizona. I am here with my colleagues to demand that Donald Trump facilitate the safe return home for Mr. Kilmar Abrego Garcia. The facts of this case are abundantly clear. Mr. Garcia was abducted. He is a father. He is a husband. He's a union member. His union leadership is advocating for him through the building trade, saying that he needs to come home. And he was wrongly deported here to a foreign prison in El Salvador.
Okay, go make me a sandwich. The Republicans have called out the Democrats with their own offer. We'll pay for more House Democrats to go to El Salvador with one condition: cameras at every step.
Republicans believe. I saw that the Republicans' campaign arm today offered to pay for more House Democrats to go to El Salvador, with the one condition being that there be cameras at every step. So I think we see who at least the Republicans believe has a political high ground here. That would be their own party. And this is a very strange and, in my mind, politically risky choice that the Democrats are making, because they have created this poster child who is an illegal immigrant, who's an accused wife beater, who's a twice adjudicated gang member. And they can talk about the rule of law, fine. I think they might have a point somewhat, but the optics of who they're celebrating and championing are terrible for them, the more we learn about him. And on the rule of law point, with all due respect, this is a party that presided over a 4-year catastrophe at the southern border, mass-scale lawlessness that we've never seen before, and now they're going to pretend to be sticklers about the rule of law. I think that's also a very tough sell.
Yeah, no one's buying it either. Patriots, this is bigger than one deportation case. This is about whether America remains America, our sovereignty, our safety, our freedom to determine who enters our nation. The establishment would rather champion MS13 than stand with you. Make sure you follow Next News Network on X to get access, direct access to these threads and more. So there you have it, the Maryland man. The narrative completely shattered. A man with MS13 connections caught during a murder investigation and suspected of human trafficking, transformed by the media into some kind of an innocent victim. And Democrat lawmakers using your tax money to fly down for propaganda photo shoots by the pool. This matters because it shows just how far they will go to manipulate the truth when it comes to immigration and border security. So here is the question. If they're willing to lie about who this man really is, what else are they hiding from you about the border crisis? What other criminals are they portraying as victims? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And are you looking for ways to support real journalism? Well, you can now by visiting shop.nextnewsnetwork.com and grab some exclusive Next News merch. Limited quantities are available, but you have to be a patriot. That is the only condition.